this weekend they had black on black crime out of control. No, nothing. Just quiet. It only happens when a white person is doing it to a black person. It doesn't happen any other time. And that makes sense to you.
Yes, because of this very reason, if you'll let me explain it before you interrupt me. Gangs are not sworn to uphold the law. They don't receive my tax dollars. So I can expect them to act like normal human beings, especially cops. Holding gangs and cops to the same standard is stupid.
And so how does being black make all black people my own people?
By being black.
How does that make me, they're my people, or that's just a color? How is that my people?
I wouldn't say it's just a color. Obviously, if we weren't robbed of our land, we would be able to trace our roots back to specific parts of Africa instead of just Africa.
What land were you robbed of?
Some part of you, somebody in your family, predominantly, most people in your family, would trace back to Africa. Otherwise, you wouldn't be black.
But what land did white people take from you?
Not from me. I was born here in 1987. So
from the blacks, what land did the white people take from the blacks?
I didn't say they took land from them. I said they took them from their land across the Atlantic Ocean.
And when did the whites take the blacks from across the ocean?
1619 is when they landed here. So it was early 1600s.
Is that when the blacks in Africa sold the blacks to the Arabs, and the Arabs took them and to the rest of the world and sold them to the rest of the world?
Yeah, probably.
So why aren't you people saying the Arabs did it? Why you keep blaming the whites?
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with your people. I don't know if I thought you wanted to talk about why these are your people.
I know, but you brought up the thing about you brought up the thing about they were taken away from the land.
That's where we came from. I don't know who necessarily sold who, where, and what part of it. If your family was sold by what group, or what part of my family was sold by what group. But at the end of the day, that's where we came from.
Well, I didn't come from Africa. I came from Alabama, USA. Yeah. But my question is, let's say that all those blacks came from Africa. They found out down the road somewhere that they came from Africa. How would that make all black people my people?
Based on the fact that you all came from the same place.
How would that make them my people? That doesn't make sense. In Africa, the quote-unquote rich blacks sold the poor blacks and used them as money and everything else. Why did y'all people treat y'all other people that way?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them why they did that.
But that's what you guys should be complaining about. If you're going to have complaints, look at the way you were treated in Africa by your own people. Why are you people mad about that?
So I'm not really angry about any of it.
Right.
I think that I was letting you know that if you were black and I'm black, chances are extremely high.
Does it make sense?
We have ancestors that work side by side.
I'm not blood related to most black people. I'm only blood related to my family. And then does that make sense that they're claiming that all black people are the same? My people, does that make sense to you?
Just in the sense of the context that all black people are usually grouped together, and not all, but most black people are usually grouped together, even though they're not related, even though I don't know many of them. You've even already attempted to ask me how come I'm not angry about them, because other black people are angry, as if because I'm black, I'm supposed to be angry with them. So you can't really have it both ways, to where for somebody like me, I'm supposed to see myself as a part of that whole group, but you're allowed to isolate yourself.
I've never been associated as all my people. That's something new. It wasn't like that before the Civil Rights Movement. When I was growing up, black people identified with anyone who were of character, and it never mind the color. It never was known as my people, all my people. And then once you're born of God, your people are your brothers and sisters who have been truly born of God. That's your spiritual family, and your blood family are those that in your family you were born of the same blood. Does it make sense to you that the blacks are identifying like that because of their color?
Yes, because statistically we are grouped that way. It's even in America. If I were to kill you or you were to kill me, they would call it a black on black crime because we're both black.
Right.
But you can't deny that you're not black. You can't deny the fact that you're black there.
So if black people see all black people as their people, why do they kick out the blacks who don't agree with them, like Clarence Thomas and myself, Walter Williams, and all those? The blacks don't. They throw them. They don't identify with them as blacks, and they don't want them identifying with them as black. Why do they kick out the decent blacks?
So if a black person comes out and is expressing the fact that they don't really want to be part of the community, and they also do things that go against the community, you've already made yourself no longer part of the community. So for the community to not recognize you as part of it, that's your fault, not the community.
But Clarence Thomas or anyone I've heard say that they didn't want to be a part of the community. It's just that they become decent, upright men and women. They're kicked out by the rest of the blacks. The blacks get rid of their other black brothers and sisters who don't go along with the crap.
And usually what happens is somebody says something or they do something, especially if it's something political, and that ends up getting them pushed out. It's not the black people just saying, all right, let's throw a dart at a dartboard. Oh, today it landed on Clarence Thomas, so we're kicking him out today. That's not how it happens. They do that.
They don't throw out the bad blacks. They only throw out the ones who stand up for righteousness.
If you want to call what Clarence Thomas did righteousness, that's up to you. That's your opinion. You're allowed to think that way.
It's not my opinion. It's true.
It's not a fact. That's what you said was subjective, and I don't agree.
No, it was a fact that Clarence Thomas stood up for good, and he still stands for good. That's a fact.
I disagree.
Why? Why do you disagree?
Because he supported policies and he's written opinions that don't have the best interest in mind of the black community.
Are you able to think of one?
I wanted to finish my point on that. So regardless, even if he did that, so he's still somebody that is, even though he doesn't want to be, he's somebody that's considered my brother and my people.
What? In Chicago this weekend, they had black on black crime out of control. No, nothing. Just quiet. It only happens when a white person is doing it to a black person. It doesn't happen any other time. And that makes sense to you?
Yes, because of this very reason, if you'll let me explain it before you interrupt me. The gangs are not sworn to uphold the law. The policemen are. And the policeman's salary is paid for by tax dollars.
Well, then why don't you tell the black people when they are stopped by the cop, they need to follow the orders of the cop instead of resisting? What do you think the cop going to do if you're going to resist? The blacks will intentionally fight in the cops. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna try to finish my point.
Does that make sense, Ronnie?
I'm gonna try to finish my point because I'm not sure what question you just asked me because I was in the middle of a point. Gangs are not sworn to uphold the law. They don't receive my tax dollars, so I can expect them to act like normal human beings, especially cops. Holding gangs and cops to the same standard is stupid.
Are you saying that black is stupid to hold blacks to in a standard? That's a stupid idea, Ronnie.
No, not at all. I said it's stupid to hold gangs and gang members and gangbangers
to
the same standard that we hold police officers who are
Why is that stupid?
Because gang members don't receive my tax dollars.
Gangs receive all kind of tax dollars, major tax dollars. Just think about it. They get all types of programs. Their mothers get tax dollars, and most of the mothers don't work. The mamas get free food stamps and all that kind of stuff. And protesting is not going to make anyone moral. You have a right to free speech. You have a right to protest, but in the right way. You don't have a right to burn down and destroy other people's stuff. Those people are not burning down and destroying their stuff. They have nothing. They're too busy burning down and destroying other people's stuff, their homes and their businesses. And they don't care. They'll go right back to the ghetto and sit around and wait until they are bought, rented out for another event. Rent a black when you want destruction.